You call people racist, you call people homophobes, you call them Nazis, you call them fascists, and you expect crazy people with the psychosis not to understand what's being hyperbolic or just doing it just for votes and midterm elections so you get an emotional response. Sometimes those words have consequences because people actually believe them, and they will believe it so much so that they're willing to carry out and do incredibly stupid and idiotic and insane things. Brett Kavanaugh's life was put on the line early this morning as a man from California decided to make the trip across the country to kill him at his home. Nicholas was arrested at Kavanaugh's home early this morning with armed weapons and burglary tools with an intent to kill the justice and prevent him from ruling on the Second Amendment in abortion cases. He carried this out at 1 a.m. And I don't know if you remember, but there was a lot of people who weren't condemning and actually were in some ways supporting outside protests outside the justices' homes with this leaked Roe versus Wade that, hasn't come to fruition at all, and we haven't heard it in a while. And then, of all people, Schumer said this.
And they're taking away fundamental rights. I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions.
That is the insane rhetoric that's taken place. That's the insane rhetoric when somebody who's also borderline insane hears that and goes, you know what? I'm going to do something. If these people won't do something, I'm going to make a stand. Because as Schumer says,
taking away fundamental rights.
They're taking away our rights. They're taking away our fundamental rights. This guy probably thinks he's standing up for the kids of Uvalde in elementary school because, all these NRA conspiracy theorists, as Ethan Klein put on his podcast talking about bombing that. That's like insanity. But these people have ramped up their rhetoric and constantly are pushing this kind of rhetoric all the time. And they expect nothing like this to happen. Well, it happened. And it's going to continue to happen because they don't get it. They don't get that their rhetoric actually encourages people to do insane things. And then on the left today, I was reading through Twitter and people, not that Twitter's this grand space of morality or logical thinking individuals, but there are people that are just laughing this, mocking this. Why don't those, those Supreme Court justices just arm them, problem solved? Of course, I'm sure they are armed. And also they have people standing on guard, but that's also a freaking family inside. Have you no decency? So if it works for one way, it doesn't work for the other way. This is the kind of point I'm talking about, is that you can call people these insane things or give a wink and a nod to Antifa and Black Lives Matter riots and stuff like that. Or if it fits your agenda, you don't say anything and people are protesting outside freaking homes where there's family and little kids hanging out. Because, what are you going to do? Oh my God, it's just, these people are expressing their rights and this is where his home is. And we're also going to tell you, as Schumer says, you have released the whirlwind and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions. You won't know what hit you. You will pay the price. And then we have CNN trying to figure out, as they're doing their very balanced and honest reporting, because, Fox News is the psychopath people. It's not CNN and MSNBC. Those people are fair and balanced as always. But here's CNN trying to put the pieces together of like, did the guy have a gun? And also, it doesn't fit our narrative. I don't think he's right-wing, but we'll just throw him in anyways. Let's listen to CNN.
Very little detail at this point, Kate, other than to say this man he's an adult man from California. We don't yet know what the nature of the threat was. We don't know what language the threat was or what kind of weapon this man might have had, if he had one at all, because the information at this point is just so thin. But Kate,
My favorite is that she's saying, we don't know if the guy had a gun or a weapon whatsoever. As the bottom of her screen says, man with weapon detained near Justice Kavanaugh's home. We're not totally sure because it doesn't fit our narrative. It doesn't fit what we believe to be true about the world and our own psychosis and our own little bubble. So even if we're going to report on it, we're still going to hold back because it just doesn't make sense. I mean, really, there's a left-wing guy did this. It's not like people on the left are totally insane, totally fascistic, and totally the kind of people that would do this kind of stuff. But let's keep listening.
This certainly contributes to this overall threat landscape we've been talking a lot about. The major concern here with this abortion ruling from federal officials, and they've been sounding the alarm on this for about a month, is that Supreme Court justices will certainly be, potentially targeted by violent extremists who are angered over.
And that's right. If you have an opinion in this country and it goes against the quote-unquote mainstream ideas, as 80% of them, or whatever statistic they want to use, your life is being threatened. That's why people like Matt Walsh just recently had his life threatened and constantly has life threatened, but he, had a very credible threat, as he said, that he had to actually file and stuff like that. If you could look into that, and it makes sense because you create a documentary calling into their ideology, their religion, their woke ideology, their gender queer studies. The left is the fascistic one. They are the ones who are over the top and will do whatever it takes. People don't realize or understand, as like MSNBC gives like a wink and nod to everything Antifa did. These people, if you aren't in line with what they believe, they will go above and beyond. That's why you have prominent podcasters like Tim Pool and stuff like that get swatted on the daily during the live show. You have created an entire group of people, corporate media, politicians. You have ramped them up so much that they believe that they need to do things like this in order for their point to come across. We have gotten to the point where now that we're not speech is violence or silence is violence.
Silence is violence, Kyle.
And so when you categorize that, it creates actual violence in people because they see it as the same. When someone has a different opinion and you can't mentally, physically, emotionally handle someone else's different opinion, so much so that it causes you to lash out in actual violent ways, you get stuff like this. And who is to blame for this? It's so obvious. People are going to blame right-wing groups, social media, chat rooms. It's obvious. It's these people that constantly categorize people or say these over-the-top, insane statements about the person on the other side of the aisle.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
We've constantly done this. And then you created it so much so that the people on the other side of the aisle are starting to get even more angry because they're tired of being mocked. They're tired of being beaten up on. It's like an abusive relationship or a bullying tactic. That's why people on CNN, that's why you go on MSNBC, go to their website, top story. Again, we had a SCOTUS life put in jeopardy with probably his family there. And MSNBC doesn't even have it on their front page. They're talking about the DOJ's investigation of January 6th. Are they charging the January 6th people? Or what is going on? They have nothing on their top stories. As Chuck Schumer says, you have released a whirlwind and you will pay the price. We're not going to come together as a country with continued rhetoric like this. We're not going to come together as a country if one side believes having a different opinion other than what they already believe is hate speech or hateful or violence. We're never going to come together and have different opinions and be the America that we always have been in the past of, you know what, I don't agree with that person. I think what they think is stupid, but we're Americans after all. And that's why this place is so beautiful, having a different opinion on different things. That I can be in a room with somebody who thinks gun buybacks or waiting periods or red flag laws is a good idea, and I can be on the other side saying those ideas are stupid or idiotic, or this is why I disagree with that, and we can stay in the same area, and we can talk to each other and have a conversation and walk out and maybe learn different ideologies, be empathetic towards one another. The tolerant left, as people try to proclaim them as, it's like a dumb joke that gets overstated and said over and over again. The left is not tolerant. Stop saying that. They're tolerant to their own ideas. In some ways, the right is the same way, but there's one side of the aisle is more welcoming to different ideas and different opinions in today's world. And people like Elon Musk and Joe Rogan and stuff like that, those people see it. So will these people ever ramp down their rhetoric of the other side? I don't think so. As we have Thursday night coming out, our January 6th primetime special. Why are they doing this? Because their economy is trash. Joe Biden is doing a horrible job. All their policies are backfiring because it doesn't work. And so now they have to pull out this last ditch effort to create this narrative of, yeah, things are pretty messed up, but you don't want to go back to that, right? Sometimes when I do these podcasts, do these shows, I get kind of bored of politics sometimes because just so much of it is just bullcrap. It's just overhyped, over hysterical, over emotional, and over the top speech that results in absolutely nothing. And they're just doing it for their little gotcha moment, as you saw with Chuck Schumer having his little moment talking about whirlwind. You see him smiling and laughing because he's like, yeah, I'm saying the right thing. People are amped about me right now. I'm willing to say things that are insane to create an emotional response to get people on my side. But oopsie, somebody's at Kavanaugh's house trying to kill him. This country is not coming together. And I don't know if a candidate will ever bring it together. I don't know if a politician, a speaker, I think the right is tired of seeing stuff like this won't get reported on, as MSNBC doesn't even have it on their front page anywhere, thus creating more division because it doesn't fit their narrative. It's not a right-wing extremist. He's not a white supremacist. He's not you fill in the blank. I'm tired of these media companies not being actually fair and balanced and just worried about, the American people. They're more worried about like a wink and a nod to their own political party and especially their own political friends as they get the scoop on what's going on in politics. They're more worried about that than actually finding out about corruption. I mean, we don't even know still about Epstein's Island. I mean, there's just so many things. I wish companies, corporate media would be more relaxed and honest about conversation instead of hyperbolic insanity. But at the same time, I completely understand, especially people on the right, when they got so tired of being called all these terrible things like being called a Nazi or a racist and stuff like, even if you're not, or Uncle Tom or, all kinds of racist remarks. I don't think we're getting together as a country. I just see us spreading farther apart and becoming weaker and weaker as a nation because you see two different ideologies. You have people laughing about people and their gas prices. You see people laughing about inflation, about baby formula. What's the answer? You tell me. I guess I like to end every podcast with hope because if you don't have hope, what's the point of life? It's just beats you up too much. You can't hide from this stuff as much as people try. My hope is for you and me to just grow closer together, one another. I hope you trust me as a news source. I hope you trust me as a logical thinking individual. I hope I don't seem over the top hyperbolic and just insane all the time. I do like to make a little comedy jokes here and there. I do like to try to be a little balanced in my reporting or a little balanced in my show because, dear God, it just seems like you can't find it because everyone's so obsessed with taking a side. Like, I just want to side with truth and freedom. Those are my two sides I want to take. And wherever those paths lead to me to is the path I want to go down. That's why if you look up my bios and stuff, it says I'm a libertarian, conservative libertarian, but I'm a borderline anarchist because I'm at this point, I'm wondering if we can even vote our way to freedom. Like, it just seems like so much corruption. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. I hope you guys have a great day. I got more videos coming out, but this is my longer form for the day. I freaking love you guys. I do love you, and I thank you so much for what you do in my podcast, sharing my podcast with people, talking to my people about my podcast. It means a lot to me, especially at times like this where people will go to somebody else's house, willing to murder a man and potentially murder his whole family for the decision of Roe versus Wade. The insane irony of that statement is just crazy to me. But this is where we're at as a country, We're all over the top. None of us know how to talk to each other, and because one side has made it very clear that we don't want to have a conversation. We just want, if you don't believe what I have to say, then you're a bigot, racist, homophobe, and I'm gonna track you down. As Amy Schumer's uncle or whatever says, you have released the whirlwinds and you will pay the price. God, these people are nuts. These people are insane. Don't ever, I guess my moral of the story is, don't put all your eggs in a basket in any politician. They will lie and do whatever they can in order to be in power, in order for you, your eyeballs and your attention, in order for you to send them money. I just don't believe any of them. Let me know your thoughts. I hope you have a great day. I freaking love you guys. Please share this with your friends and family. Tell them about the Derek O'Shea Show. If you want to support my show, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Derek O'Shea Show. I'd greatly appreciate it. Link is in the description below. If not, just put a thumbs up, comment on my stuff. It helps the algorithms out. Have a great day. I love you. Bye.